If you have been wondering, like, where do I start? Because everyone is talking about savings, everyone is talking about investments. You're not sure, like, should I be saving my money? Should I be investing my money? What am I supposed to be doing? One of the things I want you to know from today is both of these, they are very important in your financial freedom journey. And because I know we might be confused, at what point do we save? At what point do we invest? And also to make sure that we are saving for the right reasons or we are aligned in our financial freedom journey, I decided to prepare this video so that we can expound on the different options of savings and investment, and also different reasons why we choose the savings and at what point do we invest. Hi guys, welcome again to my YouTube channel. My name is Jane Dishu and I'm a financial advisor. So we're going to start from the top. We're going to define what is savings. At what point do we save? And then we're going to go, what is investment and at what point do we invest? So savings is like putting money aside so that you can use it later. So it's like just a safety way of just putting your money aside so that you can use it on future expenses. One of the reasons why we save is because we are preparing either for future expense or we are preparing that one day we will need this amount of money and we will need to use it. So some of the situations when we are saving our money is in case of emergencies, in case of maybe you have school fees for your kids that you need to prepare for, in case you're preparing maybe to start into your investment journey. I'm going to explain what that means. In case maybe you're trying to accumulate funds that are going to help you maybe in your home ownership, in a vacation, in a home improvement, just something that you want to prepare for in advance. One of the key points around savings, at this particular point, we are not concentrating too much maybe on the return on investment or the interest that you're getting. So some of these savings avenue that you can use is the famous money market fund. I have done a whole YouTube video. I'm going to link it below so that you can go and watch the whole explanation of what a money market fund is, how a money market fund can help you. The second savings avenue that you can use is a SACCO. We also have chamas or merry-go-round. We also have bank accounts. So we have different places where you can be able to have the safety and access, where your money is saved and you can still be able to access. So one of the notable characteristic of a savings is you might get the interest, which is recommended because of inflation, but you might not be able to aggressively get that high interest. So you might just be getting a minimum of maybe 8 to 12%, like most of the money market funds are going to give you. Maybe in a SACCO, you're going to get maybe an average of around 5 to almost 14%, just depending with the amount of money that you have in that particular SACCO. So one of the things that guides your reasoning around savings is, what is the goal? What am I looking at? So I'm going to give an example. For example, a person who is just looking at, I want to put my money aside for emergencies. They're going to put that money in a money market fund as compared to a SACCO, because in case they have an emergency, a SACCO might not be able to give promptly their money, or they probably cannot be able to withdraw all their money. They'll have either to transfer their shares or wait for a longer period of time. But if a person maybe on the other side, they're looking at maybe saving and growing their credit, maybe to at particular point get a loan facility, they're going to go to the SACCO, because a SACCO is going to give you a high credit score in a very short period of time. Because if you save maybe around $1 million, you can be given times 3 of your savings, and that means you have like 3 million in case you have guarantors. So it's an easy way to grow your credit score. And also the interest on the loans is quite somehow maybe affordable as compared to other places where you can borrow, because you're getting around 1% interest on your loan. So for these two people, they are using a savings avenue. So you're going to realize that how you choose a savings platform or a savings account, it's going to be guided purely on your financial goal. So you have to ask yourself, if I'm looking for a loan, I need to be maybe, for example, in a SACCO. If I'm looking just for a place where my money is compensating me on inflation, and I'm looking for a place where I can be able to access my money in the short run, you're going to go maybe for a money market fund. This is just an example. So you must have to answer that question of, what is the reason why you chose a money market fund over a SACCO? So that have to stand so openly. Another thing is the duration of time. Some of these savings avenue you might find, for example, if you're planning for your child's education, maybe in the long run, 10 years from now, maybe it's high school, it's university. Most of the time, because of if you have discipline issues, you might find you're not going to save in a money market fund, even if it's a place where you're getting maybe an interest. because maybe you might find yourself withdrawing that amount of money because you don't have the discipline. So you might consider maybe a longer savings plan, like maybe an education plan, because this one is going to give you a fixed period of time. It's going to boost on your discipline. It's going to make sure that you don't access that money until that time. So it's a structured way. So you're going to consider the return on investment, which is not a main consideration at this point, but I always say, why should you put your money under your mattresses? You should be making at least something at the end of the day. You must have a capacity to actually have the return on investment or to beat the inflation. The second thing we have said is the time. When do you want to access this amount of money? You don't want to put your money in a long-term savings plan when you really need to access that money in the short run. The other thing that you need also to identify is the goal. What is the reason? What is the purpose? Why are you putting that money aside? And this takes us to the next point of what is investing. Now that we know what savings is, what is investing? So investment is where you're putting money aside for future use, but to generate you a revenue or to generate you an income. So our goal shifts from just putting our money aside so that we can use it later in life, to now that you're concentrating too much on what am I getting at the end of the day. So at this particular point, our concentration is not around what are we looking at. It's more of what are we getting. It's not more of like what are we putting aside. It's more of what are we getting. So at this point, we're looking at what is the return on investment, what is the duration we can be able to fix this amount of money, and at the end of the day, we're looking at the risk. If we are going to get maybe a high interest rate on our investment, does that mean that we are going to risk our money to maybe high risk investment? So you're going to have something we call an investment portfolio. So some of these investments that we have in the country right now, we have the famous real estate, and these days we don't have to buy pieces of idle land. We have actually real estate investment trust where you can be able to actually invest in real estate without having to own a property. So a very nice and flexible way to actually own property or invest in real estate. The other investment that we have is the government bonds, for someone who is looking maybe for flexible and longer term and short term investments around just a place where you have the stability. We have the government bonds and bills. So these are famously known for stability and low of risk kind of investments. We also have like investments in foreign market, like a product that is famously being known as Mansa X, which is in the market actually. The other investments are unit trust. So unit trusts are categorized depending on their risk. One of the things that I want you guys to understand, money market fund is also in the classes of investment because it combines both savings and investment. But we have the classes, which I think I'm going to do another whole video describing what unit trusts are and how you can be able to maximize on different of them. Just to mention but a few: money market fund, we have equity fund, we have growth fund, and we also have the bond fund. So this is just another way of being able to invest any amount of money that you're having. And the last one is the risky investments or the high risk investments. We have the forex and the cryptocurrencies. So these are investments that somehow diverse on international markets or digital coins. And then at that particular point, they are considered as high risk because they are trading and your money might go up and down. So one of the notable thing around investments, these are long term, they are not short term. The moment you start investing, you are concentrating too much on the long term returns on investment rather than the short term, like what we compared on the savings and investment. I know at this particular point, you're torn in between. You don't know, like, how do I choose an investment? So some of the considerations that you need to have is, one, how long do you want to invest? So the time period. The second thing is the minimum investment or the amount of money that you're looking at investing. Some of these investments have a minimum investment, like the government bonds, you need like 50,000. The Mansa X, you need like around 250,000. We have investments like treasury bills, also 50,000. We also have investments like, for example, the rates, which require you to have a minimum of even 5,000. So you also need to watch to see the amount of money you have before you choose an investment. The other thing is the target return on investment. I always say, if you're creating a passive income portfolio, you need to have a target because that one is going to guide you on your growth. It's going to help you on how far you can go with your money. Also, it helps you with the discipline and the motivation at the end of the day. So before you even choose an investment, make sure that you consider those things because it's going to make sure that you are in the right track in your financial freedom journey. At this point, I'm very sure you're asking yourself now, I have known the difference. I have known how to choose my savings and investments. But when do I know what to do at what particular point? So we're going to discuss that. So one of the notable things that I want you to carry forward as we discuss this section of this discussion is that one cannot replace the other. They actually complement each other. You're going to be in your savings era, you're going to be in your investment era, and at the same time, you're going to be in a savings and investment era. So it's not like one thing is going to replace the other. They complement each other. One of the notable things for you to, before you actually invest, you need to have accumulated. And how do you accumulate? Is by saving. So they complement each other. They go hand in hand. So one of the things when you're trying to choose what to do with your money, or if you're going to choose the savings and investment, the first thing that you're going to consider is the time period. So if you are looking at the short term, save that money. If you're looking at for the long term, invest that money. So if you can be able to hold your money maybe for 1 year, for 3 years, for 2 years, for 5 years, look at that particular point you're looking at savings. If you want to hold your money in the long term, like maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, look for investment. The second thing is the reason why you are in. You want to put aside that money. So if your reason is short term, that also goes to the time period. Or if your reason is target maybe reason like maybe paying off your school fees, emergencies, like just a certain goal, save that amount of money. If your goal is to grow the passive income or to have the financial freedom, invest that money. So you need to also see what is the goal. Why are you putting this money? So if it's actually to achieve a certain reason, that one, you're saving that money. If it's about creating the freedom or wealth creation or the passive income, invest that amount of money. During these 2 seasons, you need to have like a whole direction of at what point do I stop saving and do I take this amount of money to grow to investment? Because for example, let's say I'm trying to invest in bonds and I don't have the minimum, and maybe my income, I can only be able to set aside 5,000 per month. So I might need to put aside the 5,000 per month, maybe in a savings platform for the next maybe 10 months. And then I have my 50,000, which I can now take, invest that amount of money in bonds. But in these 2 seasons, you also need to make sure that your money is somewhere that it's growing. So even if you're saving your money, you need to make sure that that savings is actually growing or it's actually giving you a return on investment. So at this particular point, as you're trying to navigate your financial freedom journey, just know that these 2 things complement each other. At no particular point you overgrow savings. At no particular point you overgrow investment. There's no season of now I'm in my investment era, so I'm not saving. So you need first to have the 2 running closely together, because you will have financial goals in your life. You'll also need to achieve the financial freedom or have the wealth or create other sources of income or passive income. So you need to also grow to the investment level. If you're lost on where to start, or if you don't maybe have that high income, or if you cannot be able to have a very high disposable income, start from accumulating, start saving that amount of money. Once you have that 1 million, 500,000, 250,000, whatever amount of money that you're going to set as your minimum investment fund, take that money, start investing and distributing it in the right investments. And I hope that, guys, you are going to start in your savings and investment journey. I also hope that you're well guided on how to be able to walk through this journey of savings and investment. And I want you to remember, it's a journey, it's not a destination. Every stage of your income, every stage of your life, you will have a place, an amount of money that you need to set in your savings and investment journey. And as your income grows, you need to increase on the amount of money that is going to your savings and investment journey. And because I don't want you to be stressed on how can I be able to start this, how do I get personalized sessions or guidance on my savings and investment journey, this is why I offer consultation on the same. Make sure to book your consultation session. Follow me on my Instagram page. You can access my calendar and then you can book a session where we can be able to discuss on where to start on your savings and investment journey, and also map your financial freedom journey, because I know that is the whole point, that is the target, that is what we are all looking at, having the freedom, having the independency where our money is actually working for us. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and to stay connected and to get more of this content, make sure that you subscribe, comment and share so that you will be notified every time we post this content. And until next time, thank you.